The Tennessee Titans got mossed in a 23-16 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to talk about it on a Week 5 postcast edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Week 5 Locked On Titans postcast. The Tennessee Titans lose to the Indianapolis Colts 23-16. They got bullied, quite honestly. We're going to dive into all of it. This is my instant reaction, my emotional reaction to the game. Before we get into it, thank you guys for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year long on all apps, win or lose. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed to the Locked On Titans podcast. Let me know down below, guys, who is the most to blame for this Tennessee Titans loss? Also, throw a thumbs up on the video right now. The show's always free. All I ask for in return is the press of a button. But, man, the Titans just got absolutely out-physicaled in this game. It was unbelievable. And look, I know that Teair Tart is out of this game. I understand that. I recognize that. Not having Tart was a big factor. But the Tennessee Titans run defense has to be better than that, even if Teair Tart isn't on the field. It has to be better. Everybody was failing in the front seven, whether it be the edges with Landry and Key and Autry and Weaver, whether it be the linebackers who had a terrible game and Jack Gibbons and Azeez Al-Shire. I mean, everybody in the front seven failed in run defense. The safeties were flying up, not in the right spot, and the tackling was so miserable all day. And that's why, for me, the whole thing is the Titans got mossed. They got dominated physically, all right? Zack Moss, 23 carries, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Zack Moss is a fine player, but the Titans made him look like prime Emmitt Smith. And look, you got to give credit to the guys up front for Indianapolis. The offensive line for the Colts dominated the Titans. They simply dominated the Titans and allowed Zack Moss to get off like that. The Titans hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 21 games. This has been not only the best defense in the NFL for the past run defense in the NFL for the past 20 games, not defense in general, run defense. This isn't just a good run defense. This is a historically good run defense in the run that they've been on. So for the Colts to absolutely bully them and push them around like that, it has to be incredibly disappointing for Mike Vrabel to not be able to get 1 yard on the ground, get stuffed multiple times on third and shorts when you need 1 yard on the offensive line and you can't get that movement to do it. The Titans got bullied today. They got out-physicaled. That's what happened in this matchup, and it was led by the Colts running game who set the tone. And again, the Tennessee Titans got mossed. That's exactly what happened here. So just shocking. Just absolutely shocking to see the Tennessee Titans run defense dominated like that. But listen, the run defense wasn't alone in its failure, because even when the Titans run defense did their job, even when the Titans were able to get a penalty to set the Colts back, Kristian Fulton was right there to ruin everything. I mean, Mike Vrabel said in his press conference after the game that he considered benching Kristian Fulton. And at some point, and here's the problem, Kristian Fulton is so much more talented than anybody else that the Tennessee Titans have at cornerback. He's far better than Trey Avery. He's far better than Eric Garrow or Anthony Kendall. Anybody else the Titans could put in at cornerback is not going to be more talented than Kristian Fulton. But Fulton's mental mistakes are absolutely blowing it early in the game. On the long 3rd and 16, he gives up. He's playing cover 2 invert, and he is the deep half defender, and he lets Josh Downs get behind him on the corner route. How do you do that? And then the penalties, the pass interference plays, getting beat to the sideline. I mean, Mike Vrabel preached to Kristian Fulton this week, do your job. Or it was after week 3. Just do your job. And Kristian Fulton is not only not doing his job, he is ruining plays for the defense. with his mental mistakes. It's just unacceptable stuff. The problem is, again, the Titans don't have anybody more talented than Kristian Fulton that they can put in his spot. So what do? You play a less talented player and just hope that it's better? It's a tough spot for Mike Vrabel, but all I know is the Titans' run defense was bad, but Kristian Fulton shared the blame with the run defense for a miserable showing from the Tennessee Titans defense. But we're going to talk about the offense, what happened over there. I also just want to talk about where my emotions are right now with this team and how the Titans need to proceed. Before we get into all of that, though, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Look, guys, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. All you got to do is create a free job post on LinkedIn Jobs. Then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. They have simple tools like screening questions. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Also want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Snap into the action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you're thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use. You can bet on everything from the spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Titans fans, let's continue this Week 5 postcast edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. My instant, raw reaction, my emotional reaction to the game. We just talked about the Tennessee Titans defense just getting absolutely bullied, getting out physical, not only in run defense, but Kristian Fulton was an absolute disaster out there. You couldn't start a season much worse than Kristian Fulton has started this season. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I had a philosophy class in college where they talked about not being able to trust your emotions, because sometimes during your dreams, you feel things that aren't real. You can't trust your emotions. Little philosophy for you guys. But that is, for me, the training camp noise around Kristian Fulton. All we heard about during training camp was how great Fulton was and how he was locked down and looked like a #1 corner, looked like a different guy heading into his contract year. Yeah, right. That was an absolute lie. I did a little Tennessee Titans truth and fiction for Sports Illustrated this week leading up to this game. I might do that this week on the show, because one of the fictions for the Titans is that Kristian Fulton is a #1 corner. He's been a disaster for the Titans, and he almost single-handedly broke their back in multiple occasions. If not for the Titans' run defense being so bad, this would be entirely on him. But on the offensive side of the ball, the Titans didn't get it done in in red zone. They simply didn't get it done in the red zone. They couldn't run the ball, and it took them way too long to figure out that they just needed to play action pass the whole time. It took the Titans until the second half to realize, hey, maybe we just need to throw the ball a ton on this terrible secondary. But instead, the Titans wanted to play the game where they challenged the front seven of the Colts defense, who has a ton of really good players like DeForest Buckner and Zaire Franklin. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense what the Titans were trying to do in the first half. Now, they corrected it in the second half, but again, the Titans were 1 for 4 in the red zone on offense. It's just unacceptable. You're not going to win that way. The Titans offense has to be better in the red zone. That fourth down to Derrick Henry when he gets stuffed. And look, guys, we can complain about the play call all we want. I like the idea of running it to Derrick Henry on 4th and short. If they didn't run it to Derrick Henry on 4th and short, all of you would be complaining that they didn't give it to Henry on 4th and short. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield. Why not give it to him? So I get it, but running out of shotgun, they were all mixed up before the play. Chris Moore, Derrick Henry didn't know where they were supposed to be. I mean, it's too big of a play for the Titans to not call a timeout there and figure out what's going on, even if you got to burn a timeout. So that was a bad job there. But overall, I mean, the Titans offense moved the ball up and down the field. They were just bad in the red zone. I mean, Hopkins went absolutely insane. DeAndre Hopkins in this game had 8 catches for 140 yards. I knew that Hopkins was going to have a huge game, and the Titans just didn't capitalize in the red zone. And on the road, they are just not getting it done. And again, this is the last thing that I want to talk about here before I go. Want to remind you guys, I'm going to have a full 30-minute recap up at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Locked On Titans YouTube channel, on the Locked On Titans podcast feed. Tomorrow is Tic Tac Tuesday, our next show. I should say it'll be out on Monday night for YouTube. You guys always let me know about the day thing. But I'll have all my film breakdown, my recap, my analysis from watching the film for you guys. Then what's next Wednesday? We'll look ahead to this game against the Ravens, which I think is a big turning point in the season. Make sure that you guys stay locked in, stay tuned in, stay subscribed, get subscribed, whatever it is, here to the Locked On Titans podcast. Throw a thumbs up on the video right now as well. But going into next week against the Ravens, and we're going to talk about this more throughout the week, as I just said. But going into this next game against the Ravens, let me know down below, guys. Do you think the Tennessee Titans are beating the Ravens next week in London? Let me know. Do you think the Tennessee Titans will beat the Ravens next week in London? Because the Titans have been terrible on the road, and it's not necessarily a road game, but it's not a home game, so that might be a problem in its own. If the Titans drop to 2-4 against the Ravens and go into the bye week at 2-4, I just don't know how they can look themselves in the mirror and stay committed to trying to make the playoffs. I just don't understand how they could do it. Now, we got to see what happens in that Ravens game. We got to see how it looks, no matter what the outcome is. But we're getting to a point here where the Colts didn't have Jonathan Taylor in this game, basically. The Colts didn't have Anthony Richardson for a lot of this game. And the Titans got bullied at their own game. And we're going to say, oh, because the Titans were missing their nose tackle, that there's some excuse for them or something? No. The Colts were the better football team. The Colts were the more physical football team. And the Colts did it without their starting quarterback and starting running back. So the Titans need to look themselves in the mirror here. And this game against the Ravens is really going to decide what they do going forward. Because the Titans' schedule does get easier after the bye. It does. And I think there's a lot of winnable games for the Titans, even this version of the Titans after the bye. But are they going to beat their division mates later this year? Are they going to make any noise in the playoffs if they happen to squeak in? The Titans need to go over to London ready to look themselves in the mirror during the bye week and decide whether they need to consider some trades, whether they need to consider some changes and go with some youth. You know what I mean? The Titans need to consider all those factors. And this game against the Ravens is the turning point for the season. It is. Whether they're going to do better or they're going to do worse. This Ravens game is the turning point. But again, I'll be back later on tonight for my full 30-minute recap. Make sure that you guys tune in. I'll be back after that all week. Tic Tac Tuesday, what's next Wednesday, crossover Thursday, all that. But this is going to do it for me in a Week 5 postcast. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Rowland. This was Locked On Titans.